Tonight at 10 on the Movie Channel. James Belushi stars in Real Men, a spoof satire about a CIA agent and his reluctant partner who have only 5 days to save the world. Real Men, your next film tonight at 10 on the Movie Channel.
Ah, that great new orange taste.
Listen to the beat of the bubbles on your tongue. Ooh, you can feel the fizz of the Fanta going down. When orange fizzes, it's Fanta. When orange fizzes, it's Fanta.
If you want an impartial opinion on who's got the best football team, you don't ask a football team manager. If you want impartial advice on how to vote at the next election, you don't ask a politician. And if you want impartial advice on all the pensions around, you don't ask someone who works for a pension company. You go to NatWest. We've no pensions of our own to offer, just impartial advice on everyone else's. We're the only major high street bank who do this. So, for hard facts and no hard sell, have a natter with NatWest.
Apparently, the fastest failure of a driving test took place in the early 80s. A man, we'll call him Mr. Smith to spare his blushes, was seated in his car patiently waiting for his examiner. And he waited, and he waited. Then he got a little impatient. Whereupon the examiner duly appeared and failed Mr. Smith for sounding his horn in a stationary vehicle. That really takes the biscuit, Mr. Smith. So we're delighted to award you the Order of the McVitty's Hobnob with that oaty home-baked taste. Because when you take the biscuit, it has to be McVitty's.
Good evening. Iraqi President Saddam Hussein has used a family of British hostages as pawns in a propaganda broadcast tonight designed to put pressure on the West in the Gulf crisis. Iraqi TV showed Saddam talking in his office to Stephen and Patricia Morton and their 3 sons. Relatives of the family, who come from Cleveland, had not heard from them since they were trapped in Kuwait by the Iraqi invasion. Saddam was telling the Mortons that they were being held in Iraq to prevent war. Mrs. Thatcher is said to have reacted with revulsion, and the Foreign Office condemned the broadcast as a repulsive charade. Labour's Foreign Affairs spokesman Gerald Kaufman called it obscene, disgusting and disgraceful. In New York, the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council have reached a tentative agreement on an American proposal authorizing the use of minimum force to enforce sanctions against Iraq. President George Bush is anxious to have the authority of the world body as soon as possible to endorse possible US military action in the Gulf. Western embassies in Kuwait are preparing to defy an Iraqi order to close down tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Defence Secretary Tom King has ordered a 2nd squadron of Tornado jets to the Gulf to back up British forces already there. The government has made a U-turn over its controversial sale of the electricity generating company Powergen. The Energy Secretary John Wakeham says he's dropped the idea of selling Powergen to the Hanson Trust in favour of a public flotation. The Satanic Verses author Salman Rushdie has given his first television interview since Iran's death sentence forced him into hiding. Interviewer Melvin Bragg says Mr. Rushdie, who's under 24-hour armed guard, is bearing up remarkably well. Hundreds of British sheep have been burned alive in northwestern France. French farmers, angry at imported British lamb entering their country, set a lorry carrying the animals on fire. The National Farmers Union president, Sir Simon Gourlay, called the burning barbaric and senseless. That's the news. Now we'll look at the weather. Fine and very sticky over much of England and Wales tonight, becoming misty later. Scotland and Northern Ireland will be cloudy and wet. Tomorrow, hot and sultry in England and Wales, with rain developing, overcast and drizzly in the north of the country. That's it for now. Join us for more news updates throughout the evening.
priceless ruby is slipped into the luggage of a newlywed couple on their honeymoon.
Stephanie! Stephanie! I don't want money. I want my wife.
Like they say, the streets know everything. All you have to do is listen to the city.
The water falls on the road to Bangalore when the sun is high. The stone of blood for your wife.
Can Sandy outwit international jewel thieves to save his wife? Bloodstone tonight at 11:30 on the Movie Channel.
Misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you. I know for certain.
Have you got it?
Business to
Where is it?
What?
Come on.
Your usual time.
Down here.
Oh, I know. You're a statesman.
Oh, you know what,
Take this rubbish back to Britain.
Oh, thanks.
Here, look,
Jack Horner in a corner. Don't go nowhere. What do I care? Your kisses I was waiting for. Believe me, I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, just me and my radio. Ain't misbehaving, I'm saving my love for you.
Well, look, I'm glad you turned up, Sprikey, because I've got a little job for you. I'd like you to empty the van there, take that stuff out and burn it for me.